February 11th of 2018, Tim and I were attending our state conference, and our state president, President Dunn, was speaking in conference, and he looked down at a row of widows and told them how much he loved them and that he understood that they were going through some hard times. At that moment, I received this strong impression or feeling that someone I loved was going to pass away. I didn't say anything at the moment, but as we got up to leave state conference, I said to Tim, let me tell you what feeling I had, and I told him about the feeling I had. And I said, I think we need to go home and see Mom and Dad. And so Tim agreed. He said, okay. And we knew the next weekend was President's Day weekend. So we decided that we would come home for President's Day weekend. Tim took off that Friday, and we left here on, I believe it was the 15th, 16th, the 15th, and we drove down to Pahrump, Nevada. And we saw my parents, and they were so excited that we were there visiting. They were living with my brother, Stephen Gilger, at the time, and his wife, Pat. And we had a good visit with them. We enjoyed their company. We saw some of Steve and Pat's children. We saw my Uncle Charles, my mom's brother, and his wife, Candy. And we just had a good visit. Well, on Saturday, we heard that a big snowstorm was coming to our part of Utah. And we decided maybe we better come home on Sunday because we were a little nervous about the storm. And so Sunday morning we got up and we had breakfast. And I said to Mom and Dad, you know what? Let's plan your funerals. Let's just write down what you want to have happen, who you want to speak at your funeral. So I asked Mom if she had a notebook, and she said she did. She had a little one inside of her blood pressure cuff. And so she got that notebook out, and I asked Dad who he wanted to speak at his funeral and what songs he wanted sung. And we wrote it all down in that notebook of Mom's. And then I asked Mom what she wanted for her funeral. And we wrote it all down. And then we put it back in Mom's bag that she kept her cuff in. And we gave Mom and Dad a hug, and we left Nevada at about 1 to come home. Well, we did hit a snowstorm on our way home, and it was a big one. From Nephi to home took us over an hour. In fact, the last 10 minutes were the worst. And it snowed, I don't know how many inches, but over 5 inches that day. And so we were grateful that we came home on Sunday, and we were grateful that we went and saw my parents, and everybody was doing well, and we talked to them, like I said, and we had a good time. Well, we got home and we went to bed that night. We woke up for President's Day and got some things done around the house, did laundry and did shopping that we needed to. And that night, I got a phone call from my brother. And he told me my dad had fallen and that they had flighted him to the hospital in Las Vegas, and that it didn't look good. He and Mom had been to Walmart, and I remember Mom telling me that he had bought some M&Ms, and he had bought some Slim Fast and something else, and he was happy, and she had pulled up at the back of my brother's house and drop Dad off. And all I had to do was go up one step. And I guess it's 2 steps. And Dad missed a step. And it caused him to pitch himself backwards. And he hit his head hard on the cement. Now, Dad had a fall a couple years before that where he had bled inside of his brain for 30 days straight. And they had to do surgery. So they didn't know what a condition he was in. But Steve warned me, and I said, do we need to come down? And he said, no, don't come down yet. We don't know how he's doing. We'll find out in the morning. So the next morning, I called, and they hadn't been to the hospital yet, but they were heading over. And I had to go to the temple. I work in the Payson temple as an ordinance worker. And so I told Steve I'd call him that night. Well, I got ready and went to the temple. And our sessions are divided up into 5 separate stations. And I was worried. And I put my dad's name on the temple roll. And I went to our prep meeting, and then I went and served in my first station. Well, after the first station, I just had this overwhelming feeling that I needed to call Steve. So I ran down to the basement and got my phone out of the locker, and we're not allowed out of the temple in our Ys. But I ran to the foyer with my phone, and I called my brother. The first thing he said to me was, "You better get here now. It doesn't look good." So I called my husband. I called Tim immediately. And I went and found my supervisor and told her I had to leave and what was happening. And I ran home. The twins and I had made a trip in October to see Mom and Dad. Tim didn't want to go down. But we made the trip, and the twins got to see both of them in October. When I got home, Magdalene came up because she heard me, and I told her what was happening, and she wanted to go with us. So Tim got home from work. He got off early, and we jumped in the car, the 3 of us, and drove straight to Pahrump. We didn't know what hospital he was in. And when we got to Pahrump, I said I wanted to go over and see Dad. And Stephanie had taken over the communications between the hospital and her parents and us. And she said no, that she had made arrangements for Wednesday for us to go see Dad. I wish I had gone over anyway. It was late, and I know she was doing what she felt was right. We got up Wednesday morning, and Stephanie told us the hospital was planning on us getting there at 11. And this was Wednesday, the 21st. And we got to the hospital and went in and saw Dad. They said there was no brain activity. I put Laura's theme on my phone and I held my phone up to my dad's ear because I wanted to know for sure that he was gone. I watched him for any sign he could give. And there were no signs. And I told Dad goodbye, and that I loved him. And the whole family had gathered around. And they came in and shut off the machines. And Dad passed away within the next 20 minutes. I am so very grateful that I listened to that premonition and followed it. And that I saw my dad and knew. Stephen had told us not to bring clothes for the funeral because he thought Mom wanted to put it off for a couple of weeks. So we went back to the house and loaded up and came back home. And on Thursday, we got a call from Stephen. And he said Mom wanted to do the funeral on Saturday. So we had the funeral on the 24th. Steve and Tim, the eulogy. On the trip down, Tim and I talked about all the things we knew Dad had done. And then we used Dad's life story to outline the eulogy for them. And they did a beautiful job. I love my dad. I love my mom. And I miss them dearly. But I'm so grateful Heavenly Father has blessed me and warned me of their passing. Mom died last March. And I called her that morning, and she told me Stephanie was there. And that Stephanie was giving her a hard time for still being in bed. And that she had to get up and go shower. So I let her go. And I got a call about 2 hours later. And it was Stephanie saying Mom had fallen in the shower and that she was gone. I'm grateful for my testimony. And I'm grateful that I'll be able to see Mom and Dad again on the other side of the veil.